Divine Prophecy Unveiled. What miraculous transformations await Christians after 40 days from say? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the quaint town of Maple Grove, a divine declaration rippled through the air, whispering promises of miracles yet to unfold. Grace, a devoted single mother, clasped her son Noah's hand tightly, her heart pounding with the echoes of faith and fear battling within her. Recently diagnosed with a rare illness, Noah's condition was precarious at best, and Grace had embarked on a 40-day journey of prayer and fasting under the watchful eye of Pastor Samuel, her unwavering rock in this storm of despair. With the church bell tolling each Sunday, the faithful gathered in fervor, their prayers enveloping Grace like a warm embrace. But doubt, insidious and creeping, often seeped into her spirit as days melded into weeks without change. Every whispered prayer felt like a candle, flickering in the wind of skepticism from some townsfolk who prioritized science over supernatural hope. Yet amidst this turmoil, the allure of God's promise burned bright, urging her forward. One evening, as dusk settled and stars began to twinkle, Grace stepped into the cozy sanctuary, filled to the brim with the sweet scent of blooming lilies and fervent hearts eager for divine intervention. Kneeling on the cool wooden floor, she raised her voice in prayer, tears streaming down her cheeks. Suddenly, an otherworldly hush fell over the congregation. Light swirled like a breeze, revealing a figure an unexpected stranger, seemingly sent from heaven. "Listen!" he proclaimed, his voice trembling with the weight of prophecy. "Divine intervention is near. Miracles are upon us." A wave of energy surged through the gathering. Grace felt it resonate deep inside her, lifting her spirit from the depths of despair. Before she could catch her breath, the atmosphere pulsed with vibrant energy. Her community, once divided by doubt, now united in fervent belief, surrounding her with prayers once more. The walls of skepticism weakened, giving way to a collective fervor that ignited hope anew. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as the 40 days drew closer to a close, doubt fluttered in Grace's heart like a wild bird, agitated and restless. She wrestled with the enormity of her yearning. Was it really enough? Would her faith alone yield the miracle she so desperately hoped for? Her prayers became a delicate balance of fervent requests and quiet worry. Then came the day when Noah's condition took a harrowing turn. Panic clawed at her throat as she rushed to the hospital, the soft hum of machines amplifying her fears. It was in that dim room, where shadows loomed heavy, that the reality of her journey collided with her spirit. This was her darkest hour. Yet, even in despair, she felt that flicker of hope, a guardian flame whispering promises of miracles yet to come. As the church bells tolled the end of their 40-day fast, a hush fell over Maple Grove, anticipation hanging thick in the air. What divine manifestation awaited them? Would hope finally break free from the shackles of doubt? Grace held her breath, the promise of transformation teetering on the brink of reality. The sterile smell of antiseptic filled the air, mingling with the soft beeping of machines that measured Noah's fragile heartbeat. Grace sat by his bedside, her fingers tangled in his, seeking warmth in a place that felt so cold. She remembered the prophetic words from the stranger, the promise of miracles. With each breath Noah took, her heart silently echoed the same prayer she had whispered countless times. "Lord, I believe!" But belief felt heavy now. Every tick of the clock was a reminder of time slipping away, and with it, her hope. How could she ask for a miracle for her son when doubt sang its mocking tune in the back of her mind? She closed her eyes, urging herself to turn those doubtful whispers into praises. "God, I trust your plan," she breathed, desperation sharpening the edges of her faith. Outside the room, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows in the hallway. The congregation had rallied outside the hospital, a faithful army unified in prayer. They held hands, eyes turned toward the heavens, where clouds parted just enough to let the sun break through, spilling divine light upon them. It was an image of collective hope, a strength so palpable that even brick and mortar could not contain their faith. Suddenly, the door swung open, and Pastor Samuel strode in, his face aglow with the peaceful light that followed him everywhere he went. Grace looked up, her heart momentarily lifted. "Pastor, I don't know what to do," she murmured, tears spilling down her cheeks. "We stand on the verge of something profound, Grace," he said, his voice steady. "We must not waver in our faith. God does not abandon His children. Your act of devotion in this journey has uplifted many, your strength speaks volumes, even in this darkness." He knelt beside Noah, placing a hand on his small forehead, the other held gently over Grace's hand. "Let us pray together," he urged. The atmosphere shifted then, electricity buzzing in the air, as the whispered prayers of a dedicated congregation echoed through the room. As the words spilled forth, a warmth enveloped them like a peaceful embrace from heaven. Grace lifted her eyes to the heavens, where hope and faith collided in a dance of light. It was a divine moment, surreal yet powerful. She felt a rush of life pulse through her as though God was reaching down, holding her heart, reminding her of His promises. "Noah, you are not alone," she spoke with newfound resolve. "God is with you. You will come through this." But even as hope flooded her soul, a shadow of fear lingered, whispering questions. What if this was not enough? What if her prayers were too small compared to the vastness of what they faced? Yet before she could succumb to those fears, she remembered the words of the stranger, "Miracles are upon us." In that moment, the hospital room seemed to glow, light dancing off the walls, and Grace was sure she could feel the very essence of a miracle inching closer. Suddenly, Noah stirred. His eyes fluttered open, a spark igniting within them a flicker of recognition. Grace gasped, heart racing in her chest. Could it be? Was this the moment they had been waiting for? "Mom?" Noah's voice felt like a song of hope breaking free from despair. In that heartbeat, Grace realized she was standing on the precipice of divine transformation. Would this truly be the moment of manifestation, a miracle birthed from faith? Or was there a deeper divine mystery still waiting to unfold? With bated breath, she felt the weight of the world teeter upon the edge of 1,000 possibilities. What was God about to reveal? The room thickened with expectancy as they awaited the dawn of new beginnings. Noah blinked, confusion etched across his small face. Grace leaned closer, tears mingling with laughter, a beautifully mixed offering of relief and joy. "Yes, sweetheart, it's me. It's your mom." Her voice trembled, hanging in the air like a delicate promise, as if she could breathe life back into the broken pieces of the day. Pastor Samuel placed a calming hand on Noah's shoulder, speaking gently. "You are cherished, young man. You've fought hard. We all believed in you." There was a serenity in his tone, the assurance like a balm to Grace's frayed nerves. It was as if heaven itself had sealed the room with blessing, but as the whispers of happiness enveloped her, another inkling of concern crept in. "Noah, can you tell me how you feel?" The question hung between them, fragile yet persistent, waiting for the assurance it sought. I don't know, Mom," he murmured, a flutter of uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "It hurt, and then it didn't. I was scared." "Scared?" Grace leaned in closer, knitting her brows, but the moment felt heavy with unspoken truths. "What do you mean by that?" Before he could answer, a sudden shift occurred in the atmosphere. Light seemed to gather around Noah, illuminating his small figure as if angels themselves were present. An inexplicable warmth filled the room, adding to the surreal sense of awe. From the hallway, the congregation's voices filtered through, a soft rising tide of prayer and praise, creating a cocoon of faith that wrapped around them all. Grace closed her eyes again, savoring the moment. Despite her worries, there was a cascade of love from the community that poured forth, filling any crevice of doubt that dared linger. "Noah," Pastor Samuel prompted, his voice filled with a calm urgency. "Sometimes when we pass through trials, we can feel things deeply, both joyful and painful. God is here, and He has a plan for your healing. We believe that every hurt you've endured is part of a greater purpose." Noah nodded slowly, his gaze drifting off as if he was gathering his thoughts from beyond. I remember something, he finally said, voice barely above a whisper. There was light, and I heard music. Music? Grace's heart leaped, her spirit igniting with hope. What kind of music? It was soft, like someone was singing about love. It made me want to stay there. His eyes glimmered, as if a veil had lifted just enough for him to glimpse something divine. Grace felt the pull of a greater mystery, stirring deep within. Pastor Samuel exchanged a glance with her, full of understanding. Hear that, Grace? Even in his darkest moments, God was there with him, speaking love into his heart. As reality settled back around them, Noah's smile grew, a flicker of joy in the storm of uncertainties. Will I get better? Grace's voice quivered, yet strength rose within her. With God's help, yes, you will. We all believe it's possible. Suddenly, there was an unexpected stillness, and the weight of anticipation filled the space as if heaven had paused to listen. In that sacred moment of connection, Grace felt a leaf turn in her spirit. It was a prompt, an invitation to deeper faith. Inside her heart, she sensed a stirring, a call to share this revelation with others. What if Noah's experience could encourage not just her, but many who had ever felt alone or afraid? Everyone out there is praying for you, Noah. They believe in miracles. As she poured out her heart, a flicker of energy ran through her, awakening a strength she didn't know she possessed. She was part of something much larger, a body of believers holding on to hope. But just as elation danced on the precipice of hope, she felt another whisper of fear, a question begging her to consider, was this revelation intended solely for them or for a bigger purpose yet to unfold? What would it mean for their journey ahead? The ceiling of that hospital room seemed to expand, possibilities cascading like rays of light, igniting belief anew. What awaited them in the depths of God's promise? As Noah's laughter rang out, mingling with the prayers and the light, they stood together at the cusp of transformation, eyes fastened to the horizon of the divine promise. Little did they know, the tide of miracles they were swept into had barely begun. The air within the hospital room crackled with expectancy, each moment infused with the kind of divine energy that urged Grace's heart to soar. She watched Noah's smile illuminate his features, and it filled her with a warmth that wrapped around her like a cherished blanket. The despair that had lingered just moments ago now felt like a distant memory, replaced by a fierce hope that danced on the edges of their conversation. Noah, Pastor Samuel began, his tone imbued with a gentle authority. Do you remember anything else from that moment you felt the music? Sometimes, what we hear can guide us. Noah's brow furrowed in concentration, his voice brimming with the innocence and clarity that only children seem to possess. There were voices, too. They were soft but powerful. It felt like they were telling me everything would be okay, that I was loved. Grace's heart ached as her eyes glistened with tears of pure gratitude. Oh, sweetheart, that is such a beautiful thing to hear. God's love is always there, even when we can't see it. She paused, feeling a sense of surrender wash over her, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Pastor Samuel's gaze softened as he regarded both of them. You see, Noah, those voices you heard, they are the echoes of heaven. It's as if God is brushing against your soul, renewing you in ways we cannot fully comprehend. His presence is like a river that never runs dry. A soft laugh bubbled up from Noah as he smoothed his fingers over the fabric of his hospital blanket. It felt like the softest kind of hug, he remarked matter-of-factly, and in that moment, the gravity of his words struck a chord deep within Grace. Around them, the congregants outside continued to voice their prayers, creating a rhythmic backdrop of faith. Grace felt the fullness of that community enveloping them, wrapping them in love and unwavering trust in God's mighty hand. Noah, I believe your experience will touch many. We have to share it, to let others know they, too, are seen and loved, she whispered, half to herself. The truth resonated like a bell, ringing clear through the haze of uncertainty that kept spiraling in her thoughts. Pastor Samuel nodded, a knowing smile appearing. Yes, Grace. This is a moment of testimony. Just as each prayer rose to heaven, your son's experience can become a beacon of hope for others. Sometimes our hardest battles prepare us to share the most profound truths. Noah, with wide eyes, asked innocently, "Will I tell them about the music? And the love?" "Absolutely," Grace said, her heart swelling with warmth and pride. "You have a story to tell, a divine whisper that can light the path for others." She grasped his small hand, squeezing it tenderly, feeling a bond deeper than fear or doubt. In the stillness that followed, a gentle breeze passed through the room, and with it came the scent of blooming flowers, an aroma reminiscent of spring. "Do you smell that?" Grace asked, taking a deep breath. "It's like heaven is celebrating." As a hush enveloped them, Noah's face lit up with curiosity. "Mom, what if there's more?" Grace paused, her own spirit stirred by the question. What if there was more in store? What if this moment was just the beginning of a greater journey? Each flicker of hope felt like a flickering star in a twilight sky. "Then we will explore it together," she said, a newfound resolve sparking in her voice. "We will seek understanding, and we will not be afraid of where God leads us." With that, a surge of faith swept through her, igniting the air with possibilities. Noah's laughter echoed through the room once more, and it felt like a hymn to the heavens, a declaration that they were ready to embrace whatever miracle lay ahead. But deep within her, questions lingered like shadows. Could the experiences of their struggles lead to a wider spiritual awakening? Was this the beginning of transformation not just for them, but for their entire community and beyond? As they stood on the brink of revelation, Grace sensed the atmosphere shift once more, as if God was orchestrating a grand symphony, inviting them to join in the chorus of love and hope. Little did they know, the storm of miracles that awaited them was even grander than they could imagine, ready to unfold in divine mystery. The room filled with an ethereal glow, as if light itself was pouring in from another realm. Grace looked around, almost hushed by the sacredness of the moment. Each corner of the room seemed to whisper promises of divine grace. Noah, still bubbling with excitement, leaned closer to Grace. "Mom, can we pray now? I want to thank God for all of this." His voice rang with sincerity. Grace nodded, her heart bursting with adoration for her son's innocent faith. "Absolutely, sweetheart. Let us thank him together," she said, taking a deep breath. They clasped hands tightly, forming a small circle of faith. Grace led the prayer, her words flowing easily, infused with gratitude. "Lord, thank you for this precious moment. Thank you for Noah, for the music, and the love that fills this room. We are so grateful." As she prayed, she felt the weight of the world lift slightly off her shoulders. Each word felt like a step into lighter air, closer to God's embrace. Noah chimed in, his childlike voice sweet and unyielding. "Thank you, God. Thank you for making me feel good. Thank you for all the hugs and the music." Tears of joy spilled from Grace's eyes, each drop a testament to her faith. Such pure love flowed from her son, a reminder that embracing God's presence meant finding comfort even in the midst of difficulties. Pastor Samuel stood in reverent silence, allowing the atmosphere to settle, sensing the waves of faith washing over them. "Amen, little one. God is so pleased with your heart." As they prayed, Grace couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was brewing. A sense of urgency pulsed through her. "Noah," she said gently, "what did the voices sound like to you? Do you think they were messages for a reason?" Noah pondered, his brow returning to the familiar furrow. "They were like maybe bells? Or like when the wind dances through trees?" Grace felt a wave of warmth enveloping her. In his simple analogy, she caught a glimpse of deeper truths. Could it be? Could the voices symbolize messages meant for others, drawing them toward love and hope? The echoes of Noah's experience might just reach beyond their individual lives. Pastor Samuel broke the silence. "What a beautiful image! The music, the voices, they have power beyond understanding. They resonate with the truths we need during trials and tribulations." Grace nodded, gratitude igniting within her. "Pastor, we have to find a way to share Noah's experience. I believe it can change hearts." "Noah, do you feel ready to tell your story?" Pastor Samuel asked. A radiant smile spread across the boy's face. He nodded vigorously, excitement filling his eyes. "Yes. I want everyone to know. As laughter bubbled between them, Grace marveled at the unfolding reality. This was not merely a story, it was a pledge. They were all on a journey woven together by divine love. Yet the questions that lingered dimmed her reverie slightly. What would happen next? Would other hearts and lives be transformed? What sacred plans did God have waiting for them? Just then, the steady cadence of prayers outside rose, growing in strength, enveloped in a fervor that felt tangible. Grace felt as if they were standing at a precipice, about to step into a greater understanding of God's will. And as faith ignited deep within her, she sensed that this was just the beginning. Out there in the world, miracles were waiting to unfold. Eyes not yet open to the truth would soon see. Hearts not yet touched would soon feel the warmth of God's love. She turned to Noah, whose eyes now twinkled with wonder. This is just the first step, my love. There's so much more. Are you ready to witness it? Noah's small face brightened, and his laughter stirred something deep inside Grace. She couldn't help but smile back, joy swelling in her heart. What awaited them was a creation of divine mystery that neither had yet grasped. The winds of change began to stir, the whispers of faith unfurling like flags in a holy breeze. What miracles and transformations would they encounter in the days ahead? As hope intertwined with uncertainty, an exhilarating journey stretched before them, inviting them to step boldly into the next chapter. Grace felt the shift in the air, a stirring that propelled her forward. The laughter faded as whispers of something profound beckoned them towards the open door. Curiosity danced within her. What lies beyond? She thought. Noah, let us go outside, she suggested, her voice a soft encouragement. With a determined nod, he took her hand, and together they stepped into the sprawling expanse of a world waiting just for them. The sun bathed their skin in warmth, and the harmonious sounds of the congregation reached their ears. It was as if every prayer, every heartbeat echoed through the day, calling them to witness what was about to unfold. Pastor Samuel followed closely behind, his heart full of anticipation. The community is gathering to support us. They will want to hear Noah's story. As they approached the crowd, Grace's heart raced. Faces turned toward them, filled with expectant joy. Families, friends, and strangers united in faith stood ready to absorb the revelation that awaited. She could feel their spirits yearning for truth and connection. Noah, are you ready? She asked, kneeling beside him as he looked out at the sea of friendly faces. He took a deep breath, a small boy standing on the brink of a big moment. Yes, Noah exclaimed, his confidence unwavering. A hush settled over the crowd as Pastor Samuel encouraged, let us gather in prayer first, as we prepare our hearts for what God is revealing through this child. Grace felt a wave of unity wash over them. They all bowed their heads, and in that sacred moment, time stood still. It was like the whole universe leaned in closer, waiting for something miraculous to unfold. As they prayed aloud, Grace's heart melted. Here, in this sacred assembly, she sensed a rich tapestry of faith, the lies of separation unraveling. Hope blossomed in abundance. We're here, Lord, Samuel prayed, his voice strong yet tender. Guide us as we listen to the voice of this child. Speak through him, and let us be transformed by your infinite love. As the last amen settled, everyone turned their gaze to Noah. He stood tall, encompassing a simplicity that reached deep into the souls of all who listened. I heard music, he began, eyes sparkling with remembrance. It was like bells, like whispers of the wind. God was talking to me, and he wants everyone to feel this love. Grace felt her heart race as she witnessed the miracle of her son's pure spirit igniting the faith around them. With each word Noah spoke, beams of light seemed to shimmer in the air, breaking through barriers and touching hearts. She watched as some faces lit up with understanding, and others glistened with tears of hope. God makes us feel good. He wants us to share it. Noah continued, and Grace poured out in response. Some adults exchanged glances of awe, while others murmured, yes, this is what we need. As Noah spoke, Grace felt the light within her grow brighter. This was more than a story. It was a prophecy, a divine revelation washing over the people like a tide. She realized that Noah's experience wasn't just for them, but for everyone yearning for connection. But what God had not yet revealed she pondered internally, a veil of mystery beginning to lift. The air pulsed vibrantly. Expectation swirled around them like petals caught in a gentle breeze. She could feel it, the rhythm of something profound bubbling just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to burst forth. As they stood together, the earth seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next step of this unfolding journey. Would they be ready to embrace what comes next? Would the transformations they witnessed carry them closer to God's plans? In this moment, Grace's heart echoed with questions as her spirit soared with anticipation. The chapter of their lives was just beginning, and behind each turn lay the promise of miracles. What awaited them just beyond their reach? Only time would tell as grace and faith entwined in this dance of discovery. Noah's voice, bright and clear, cut through the murmurs of the crowd, drawing their attention deeper into the essence of his words. God wants us to hug each other, he exclaimed, his face radiating pure delight. Grace could see the joy in his little eyes. It was as if he was carrying an entire universe of hope. With every passing moment, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. People leaned closer, their hearts open, as Noah continued to articulate the vision he had seen. I saw colors bright and beautiful. They danced around us, and there were smiles everywhere. It made me want to laugh and sing. God showed me that happiness is a gift. Gradually, soft laughter erupted among the crowd, weaving a thread of connection that bound them all together. Grace felt a smile grow on her face, her heart beat in sync with the unfolding joy around her. This was no mere recital. It was a collective embracing of divine light that shone through the innocence of a child. Pastor Samuel stood beside Noah, his presence a pillar of strength, and he encouraged everyone to share in this moment of revelation. Let us not just listen, but let us join in. What do you hear in your hearts? He called out, his voice inviting and encouraging. The crowd responded, voices overlapping, sharing thoughts, snippets of prayers, and affirmations of faith. God is love, someone shouted. He wants us to connect, another declared, echoing Noah's sentiments through the swell of uplifted spirits. It was as if the very walls of the gathering space shimmered with an unseen light, illuminating questions of faith and community that had been hidden away in the shadows. Grace felt the warmth spread throughout her being. Could it be that Noah was not just a boy sharing a story, but a vessel, a messenger for greater awakening? The whispers in her heart swelled into a chorus of trust. What is God truly revealing through him? As moments turned into beats of divine connection, Noah beamed. And God wants us to sing together. Let us share that love. He reached out his arms, inviting the crowd to come closer, inviting everyone to join him in a song. With a brave heart, he began to sing a melody so sweet, it seemed to echo from deep within the heavens. The congregation, moved by the purity of the moment, joined in. Notes intertwined with laughter, merging into a passionate hymn of unity. Grace's heart swelled with gratitude. This was more than an ordinary gathering. It was a divine song resonating with everyone present. Across the faces of the gathered, she saw tears of release, tears of recognition, tears that spoke of breakthroughs and healing. Faith flowed freely as every individual in that space reached out, weaving the fabric of community tighter, wrapping it in love. But within the crescendo of joy, a different feeling emerged in Grace's heart. What did God truly want them to do with this love? What was the next step in this unfolding journey? As Noah's song flowed, she realized that they were on the brink of something monumental, yet the weight of unanswered questions loomed beneath the surface. A stillness settled upon her spirit. What must we take from this experience? The song began to fade slowly, but the ripples of its impact echoed in the hearts of all who listened. Noah's life had intertwined with something larger, a calling perhaps, something far beyond a moment of joy. The air thrummed with possibilities as they shared that sacred space. Yet glimmers of uncertainty danced like shadows, teasing the edges of the bright moment. What awaited beyond this love? What burdens would need lifting, what truths would unravel in their journey forward? Only the unfolding of time held the answers, and the divine was watching, with a promise shrouded in mystery. As the tender echoes of Noah's song lingered in the air, Grace felt a stirring within her heart, a compelling urge to respond to the unseen call that had blossomed in those moments of worship. The crowd slowly dispersed, yet she remained rooted, absorbing the palpable energy that still enveloped the space. A whisper brushed against her ear, soft but clear. "Awareness, dear one, awareness." It was as if an unseen presence was guiding her thoughts, gently nudging her spirit towards deeper understanding. She looked around. Faces that had lit up with joy now wore expressions of contemplation. Each individual had been touched by Noah's light, but how would they carry that illumination forward? A flicker of uncertainty flashed in Grace's mind. What path lay ahead for them all? With each step backward, as the crowd began to break, she felt a longing to stay, to soak in the remnants of God's gift. What were the burdens each would expose? What truths would emerge from the shadows of their lives? "Let me guide you," a voice echoed softly from within. It was Pastor Samuel, standing at the edge of the gathering. His gaze locked onto Grace, deep and knowing. "What do you sense, dear sister?" His words pulled her nearer, gently prompting her to share the stirring within her spirit. She hesitated. "I feel the pull of something more. Like God is asking us to do something with this love we've felt today. But what could that look like?" Her heart raced, the thrill of mystery swirling within her. Samuel nodded, eyes twinkling with understanding. God often reveals the next step through our collective intentions. It's about opening ourselves to serve one another. Perhaps the question isn't just what is revealed, but how we respond. A warmth spread through Grace at his words. They found echoes of truth in the walls around them. Each line, every broken heart had woven a tapestry of hope. She imagined them acting on the love they had shared, impacting lives beyond their gathering. Skepticism from the world outside may loom, but the promise of love outweighed it all. As the evening light began to fade into a gentle twilight, the remnants of a sacred energy lingered in the air, thick with the potential of life ahead. Noah approached Grace, his small stature radiating wisdom that belied his age. "Do you see it?" he asked earnestly, his eyes wide with divine innocence. "See what, sweet Noah?" she replied gently. "The colors that dance outside of here. The smiles. We can bring them all closer. We can spread it." His excitement sparked a deeper revelation in Grace's heart. Could it be? A mission was rising from the ashes of their shared experience. Yes, she breathed, feeling the truth of his words wash over her. We can share the colors. And just as realization dawned on her, a thought clicked into place, a vision unfolding in her mind: outreach programs, charity events, community gatherings, music nights. So many ways to share this divine love. However, a deeper layer of concern lingered beneath the surface. What if the world would not accept this outpouring of love? What if they faced challenges as they ventured into the unknown? The questions coiled tightly around her spirit. Grace closed her eyes, surrendering them to God. With trust, she whispered, "Show me the way to use this gift. Equip me for what lies ahead." In that moment, she felt a response, gentle yet profound. It was as if divine assurance wrapped around her heart like a warm embrace. Grace opened her eyes, meeting Noah's bright gaze that twinkled with hope. "Together, we will bring the colors," he proclaimed, a joyful determination settling in his youthful voice. Could it be this simple? Looking into the innocent eyes of the child before her, she realized their journey was just beginning. The love they had been filled with must flow outward. What awaited them in this extended journey? Was it truly as joyous as it felt now, or would they face trials that tempered their faith? The possibilities seemed infinite, but so did the divine promise. What miracles would emerge when they unleashed this love into the world beyond their gathering? Grace inhaled deeply, allowing the tapestry of hope to envelop her once again. Let the unfolding begin. Grace and Noah stepped outside, where the warm glow of twilight wrapped around them. The world beyond their gathering beckoned like a vast canvas, waiting for vibrant strokes of love and hope. Each silhouette of trees and shadow-cast figure seemed to whisper, "Go further." With the gentle touch of a breeze, Grace felt the urgency within her. "Noah," she said, "we can't do this alone. We need the others. We must reach out. Let us gather everyone, he replied, eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. The sweetness of his spirit ignited a flame of determination in her heart. They made their way back, their small footsteps resonating with a growing excitement. As they moved through the crowd, Grace noticed small pockets of conversation. Some spoke quietly, others conversed with animated gestures. Each person held a glimmer of newfound awareness unequally transformed by Noah's song. Please, everyone, Grace called out, capturing their attention. Can we gather together again? There's a call on our hearts, a mission for us to embrace. Curious glances turned toward her with a mixture of uncertainty and hope. Pastor Samuel stepped forward, his presence calming. What is it that you feel we are called to, Grace? He asked, curiosity evident in his voice. Feeling that warm embrace of assurance once more, she took a centering breath. We experienced God's love today, and I believe He is asking us to share that love with others. We can create spaces of joy and comfort for people longing for connection. Murmurs echoed through the gathering, doubts blending with the ripples of enthusiasm. Grace noticed Melanie, a single mother struggling with loneliness, nodding her head as if the idea stitched itself into her soul. I think that could work, she added, her voice tentative yet hopeful. A spark had ignited among them. Ideas flowed like water: community meals, music nights in local parks, prayer walks through their neighborhoods. Each suggestion brightened the air like luminous colors filling a palette. But Gavin, an elder in the group, voiced a question that loomed on everyone's mind. What if we face opposition? What if it doesn't go as we hope? His concern was palpable, surfacing fears held tightly by many. Grace's heart steadied itself, sensing a divine reassurance. Yes, we may face challenges, she admitted, looking deeply into their eyes. But God is with us. Love conquers fear. Imagine the seeds we can plant. We may not always see the results right away, but we're called to be faithful. That is our job. The atmosphere shifted. Moans of worry dissolved into murmurs of agreement. There was a unanimous shift as shared understanding washed over the group. They were being assembled under one divine purpose. Noah emerged again, standing tall on a nearby bench, his small yet commanding presence drawing all eyes. We're like a family, he proclaimed, arms wide as if to embrace them all. Let us paint the world with our colors. Laughter erupted, crackling like a campfire amid the deepening night. Each heart began to swell with excitement, anticipation tinged with sacred purpose. As the gathering coalesced into prayer, hands held and hopes lifted, Grace felt the power of their unity. She closed her eyes, surrendering once more, the dreams rising within her. Lord, use us, mold us, and guide our steps. As an echo of gentle agreement reverberated among them, she glimpsed a vision: a community bathed in light, colored by love, flourishing in the wake of their actions. The warmth within seemed almost overwhelming, yet, beneath that joy, a part of her still held on to a whispering fear. What if their actions fell flat? What if they felt unprepared for this daunting call? Leaning into that uncertainty, she whispered a prayer for courage, knowing the path lay ahead was one of mystery and surprise. Together, she breathed softly. We can make a difference. As they finished their prayers, a delay lingered. Grace felt they hadn't yet uncovered the full extent of their calling. What awaited them when they stepped into this next chapter? The world outside loomed large, brimming with possibilities. Yet unknown. What transformations would unfold from plain moments filled with divine love? As they took their first collective steps into the night, Grace sensed her pulse quickening. Would they truly be ready for what God had in store for them? The journey was just beginning, and God's invitation echoed in her heart. The morning sun cracked the horizon, painting Maple Grove in hues of gold and warmth. Grace stood outside, hand in hand with Noah, surrounded by the eager faces of their beloved community. Pastor Samuel's comforting presence radiated calm, offering assurance to the crowd. Today was not just another day, it was the dawn of a new awakening. Noah gazed up at the enthusiastic crowd, his small voice ringing with joy. Let us show everyone the colors of love. The heartfelt enthusiasm spread through the congregation like wildfire. Hope ignited each heart, binding them together in a mission far greater than they had anticipated. Grace felt an electrifying pulse in the air, hearts aligning like stars in a divine constellation. "We will connect with the community," she called out, her voice strong and resolute. "Together, we will create spaces filled with joy and belonging. We are called to love those who feel alone, just as we once were." Whispers of excitement peppered the crowd, faces illuminated with understanding. Each individual began to share ideas, volunteer days, shared meals, inviting those heavy with burdens to rejoice in God's love. The concepts flowed from the heart, pure and unfiltered, as Noah beamed at each suggestion, embodying the promise that echoed in their prayers. Yet, amid this blossoming hope, a hush fell over the assembly as Gavin's voice rose again, hesitant but steady. "And what if we fail? What if darkness still lingers around us?" Grace felt the weight of his worry. Her heart raced, but she steadied herself, breathing deep. "We will take each step with faith, together, and we will not let fear dictate our actions." She looked deeply into the eyes surrounding her, seeing strength reflected back. "Love transcends fear. We will gather the courage to shine brighter. Together." The crowd repeated, their resolve solidified in unity. She could feel God's presence wrapping around them, filling every crevice with warmth and light. Grace's spirit soared as they prepared to break the walls of loneliness that held so many captive. Taking the lead with Noah's hand still clasped in hers, they moved into the town, a vibrant procession of hope. Laughter rang out like a joyous bell, and Grace felt every step resonate in her soul, near palpable in the air. The townspeople peeked from their doorways, drawn in by the brightness of the moment. As they arrived at the park, families began to gather. Grace set up the first community picnic, where laughter mingled with shared stories. She took a moment to soak it all in: Noah hugging a neighbor, Pastor Samuel praying over the meal, newfound friendships blooming from seeds of love that had been sown. Suddenly, in the midst of their merriment, a well-known figure appeared. It was Melanie, her face bright with emotion, but her eyes glistened with apprehension. "What are you doing?" she asked softly, her voice quivering with vulnerability. "Will this really make a difference?" Grace stepped closer, her heart resonating with compassion. "Melanie, love does make a difference. It ripples in ways we cannot see, pushing past the shadows. Today, we choose to share it, to cradle one another's burdens." Tears glimmered in Melanie's eyes as she stepped forward, vulnerability mingling with courage. "I want to stand with you." Her voice rang out stronger. And as she spoke, the barriers of doubt around her began to crumble, revealing a depth of strength she had hidden. As the day unfolded, stories were exchanged, prayers spiraled into the air like scented smoke, binding hearts in faith. Noah played with the children, gleefully spreading laughter, every smile illuminating the tender souls who watched. Then, without warning, silence enveloped the crowd, a shift in the air catching everyone's breath. A gentle wind rustled through the trees. All heads turned towards the skies, all cascading as a cascade of colors filled the heavens. A double rainbow arched boldly across the expanse, deepening the beauty of this miraculous day. Grace's heart swelled with joy. "Look! God's promise is alive in us," she proclaimed, tears of gratitude spilling from her eyes. "He is unfurling a tapestry of hope, a celebration of love that knows no bounds." And with that, everyone cheered, a chorus of joy that rang upward into the heavens, each voice a testament of renewal, courage, and faith. As the sun dipped lower, the colors glowed brighter, and Grace stood there, knowing they were only just beginning to unlock the wonders of God's love. Each kind act, every moment shared would pulse through Maple Grove, flourishing into a garden where everyone felt the embrace of community. Noah's laughter echoed around her, like music sweet enough to break chains. They had embarked on a journey, a sacred fulfillment beckoning them forward. And as they moved toward tomorrow, Grace understood that their greatest miracle would be their own hearts open, radiating love, and ready to transform lives. The legacy of faith was not confined to just Noah's story. It would ripple outward, igniting hearts with the flame of divine renewal, forever binding their community in a crescendo of love and grace. Now, this is your moment to make a difference. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories that inspire and transform. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others discover hope. Your support makes an impact. Comment below your reactions, your testimonies about this divine ending. We want to hear your stories. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and hope. Remember, only true servants of God understand the importance of supporting our mission through these actions. Let's spread the word.